What are the top 5 things that you can do to sell your home in any real estate market?
Welcome to the Real Estate Game Plan Podcast, where we bring you inspiration, actionable steps, and knowledge to build your game plan to take your real estate business to the next level. My name is Demo.
And I'm Derek, and we are licensed real estate brokers and your hosts for this podcast. Let's get started.
All right, Derek. So the top 5 things that you can do to sell your home in any market. Number 5.
Number 5 is actually bad paint. So do you have any lime green, hot pink, polka dots? Do you have a lot of things going on? Maybe it's wallpaper.
Maybe it is wallpaper. Maybe it's a mural that one of the kiddos drew and or decided to get an ink pen out or a pen out, and just go to town. So any of those type things, right? Essentially, a buyer walks into the property. Is the first thing they're going to see a polka dot wall, a pink wall, a purple wall, and hey, that may be a great feature for you, but to be able to maximize the potential of that home to as many potential buyers as possible, you want to go with some of those neutral paint colors,
Absolutely, like agreeable gray. A lot of companies put out colors of the year or trending neutral colors. Those are definitely colors to pay attention to, but agreeable gray has definitely been a hot one for a number of years. Yeah,
and the great thing is that a lot of times this can be a do-it-yourself project, so it's not like it has to cost a lot of money. Hopefully, it's not every wall inside the home that needs it. So that's number 5 is, spruce up the paint, refresh it to more neutral colors if needed.
Yes.
Number 4?
Number 4 is going to be furniture and staging. So again, getting back to that impression, what are buyers going to think when they come in the property? Not all buyers have equal imaginations. If the home, especially if it's vacant, then home staging is definitely going to be something to consider.
Yeah, a lot of buyers go in and say to an empty home and say, I don't know if my couch will fit here. I don't know if my TV will go here, all of these things. And so we want to reduce those questions and make it to where they walk in and say, oh, look, our couch is about this size and it sits perfectly in this room. Also, another thing it does is it makes it homey, makes it feel warm in there, but it makes the room not feel so small. Really, right. A big empty room can feel small unless you put some furniture and some design in there that actually brings it to light. So definitely that part. And a lot of times people will move out of their property before they sell. And our recommendation would be leave some furniture behind that you can live without. Maybe the couch, the coffee table, the kitchen table, things like that, so that it's your furniture already there. You didn't have to pay for the staging, but you have that staging almost in there. And then there are staging consultations too, right, Derek?
Yes, there are. And the photos are going to look so much better when it is staged. And great point, because a lot of professional stagers, they don't have to stage the whole house. They can stage the key areas. So definitely get with them about that for sure.
Yep. All right. So number 3?
Number 3 is curb appeal. So you don't want to be that seller, that listing that the buyer drives up and then they drive off and they don't come in. You want them to want to come in. So curb appeal is super important.
Yeah, if I think the easy barometer there is if the weeds are taller than the flowers.
Yes,
need some help out there, right? And so, again, this is can be a DIY type project. Go into one of the big box local hardware stores or garden centers, grabbing some mulch, some flowers, anything like that that's going to spruce up that front yard. Maybe it just needs a grass cut or a weeding of the yard, but really that curb appeal when they first drive up, because a lot of buyers will drive through the neighborhood the night before, the week before, whatever it is, before they even decide to ask the agent to see the property or decide to even put that property on their list. And so if they drive through, like you said, and they see something that they don't like from the curb appeal that could have been easily addressed, they may never even make it to the point of trying to schedule a showing.
Absolutely. And if they're in the neighborhood to look at another listing and they happen to do a loop and they drive by your property, if it's inviting, they may just want to see yours too.
Exactly right. So what about number 2?
Number 2 is easy repairs. So how many homeowners put off those easy repairs, and it can make a huge difference when you go to sell your home.
Yeah, having a buyer walk into a home and see a cabinet door hanging off, seeing something simple that could have been done maybe with just the turn of a screwdriver or a couple of screws. Those are things you really want to make sure are tightened up, doorknobs off, things like that. Because if a buyer sees that, the first thing they're going to think is, what else is wrong with this property that I can't see? If this property is in this condition that I can see, and now there are some investment properties, we're not really talking about those for this purpose, right? But for a move-in type property that is being sold as a move-in traditional, traditional home for sale, you definitely want to look at those easy repairs. A great way to think about it is find a friend who is very honest with you, who's maybe the friend who might be a little too honest with you sometimes, and say, hey, can you walk through my property and look at it from a buyer's eyes? Your agent, your solid source agent can also do this for you. But having that phrase stand out and say, can you look at this property from a buyer's eyes and tell me exactly what you see is wrong? And make sure it's wrong, because you want them to be able to look for those things. And then you decide what is adequate to be addressed along with your agent and figure that out. But it will help you.
Yes, and you don't want to give the buyer any reason to offer less than full asking price on the property. Mm-hmm. And, you touch base on investors. You walk through a property and you see a handful of very obvious repairs. You do wonder what else could be wrong, but you're also thinking there's a reason to offer a little bit less and try to negotiate. So
that's right. All right. So we're all the way down to number one, the number one reason.
Yes, number one. Number one is actually the price. So pricing appropriately, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, you overprice the property and it's not going to move. We've heard it. It's true. A property will sell for the right price.
Yeah. And there may have been a time in the last 6 months to a year where you may not have even needed to be in the right ballpark for the price, and you may get that price more than that price. Who knows, right? Like we talked about earlier, it was more of an auction style. Let's just throw something out there and see where the bidding starts at this number and where it ends. Who knows? The last bidder is going to have at it. But right now, as we're approaching more of that balanced market, which is really great for buyers and sellers, then you do have to make sure it's priced correctly, right? And we know some people who can help with that.
Yes, absolutely. Those appraisal gap clauses, buyers willing to pay $50,000 over, that's kind of came to a screeching halt. Mm-hmm. And pre-listing appraisals, don't count those out. If there's any doubt, definitely for unique properties, an appraisal company can perform a pre-listing appraisal, and that way mm-hmm. that you're pricing the property at where it should be.
Yeah, and in this market, one price, either appraisal or one CMA from your agent is not enough. That CMA almost has to happen on a weekly or a couple times a week basis just to capture all of the data that we go over here for our agents, just to understand what's happening in the marketplace. So someone that's really plugged in, making sure they have the finger on the pulse of what's happening in that neighborhood or market, you really need that. So please reach out to your local solid source agent to be able to help with that, and we're happy to help as well.
Yes, and a lot of the price decreases that we've talked about, and you guys may have noticed, are from adjustments sellers who, because of the market having changed so quickly, continuing to change, priced it thinking about how things were the past couple of years, and then had to very quickly start to adjust by lowering the price.
That's right. That's right. So those are the top 5 things that you can do to sell your home in any market. We hope you found this helpful, and let us know if we can help with anything else. You've been listening to the Real Estate Game Plan podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube and leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you for listening.